who speaks Arabic. And the word, in fact, comes from a word which means to articulate clearly. A'raba, yu'ribu, means to articulate clearly. And some call al-Arab ayn is like Rabb al-Ayn, things like that. And some say it comes from Ya'rub, which is one of the fathers of Arabic. But it's those who articulate clearly, which means the vast majority of people now claiming to be Arab are not really Arab. In fact, if the Sahaba heard them, I think they would just shake their heads and say, "Are these? What kind of language is this? Huh? بقول لك إيه عايزين أقول لك حاجة." They would just say, "What was that? أكتب بألمي." That means in Arabic, I write with pain. So they really wouldn't understand, I don't think. I mean, they heard Suhaib al-Rumi once saying, "Ya Nas, Ya Nas," and Umar ibn al-Khattab said, "Ma bada Suhaib, yunadi al-Nas." What's wrong with Suhaib? He's calling the people. And he said, no, he has a boy named Yahnas. But Suhaib had ujma in his tongue, so he didn't pronounce the ha very strongly. I would say that the way that we go back to the Qur'an is taking the minhaj of the Salaf people. The minhaj of the Salaf was to read the Qur'an in 30 days. This was the minhaj of the Salaf. The Qur'an was divided into 30 juz, 60 hizb, 30 juz. The hizb was 60 to be recited at Fajr and Maghrib. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes to read. And most people spend more time in the bathroom doing their toiletries than that takes, really. I mean, just to put our priorities straight. Abu Hanifa radiallahu anhu, who is oftentimes the most generous in terms of his leniency, said that the least amount that we can recite the Qur'an is twice a year. That it must be recited at least twice a year. The Prophet ﷺ, there's a hadith that has weakness that Ar-Razi mentions, that says, "Man ta'adda arba'ina faqad jafa." The one that has gone past 40 days and hasn't completed the Qur'an has been rude to the Qur'an. The Qur'an must be read, but it has to be read with deliberation. We know that the Sahaba did not memorize the Qur'an until they were acting according to it. And this will increase us in our knowledge. Man amila bima alima awrathahu Allahu ilma ma lam ya'lam. Whoever acts according to what he knows, Allah will increase him in his knowledge. So there's increase by acting according to what we know. The Arabic language, the Quranic Arabic, although there are deep intricacies and subtleties in the Quranic Arabic, by and large, the Quranic Arabic is not a complicated Arabic. It is mubin. The hadiths are actually more difficult to read than much of the Qur'an. But the Qur'an must be read with commentary. And the commentary is something that, this is one of the problems of the modern age, is that people are literally reading the Qur'an, misunderstanding. There's people reading English translations and misunderstanding because the translator misunderstood it. And there's misunderstandings in the translations. And also translations only give one aspect. The Qur'an oftentimes have many different aspects. So the Quranic Arabic, there's a beautiful vocabulary that is not extensive, that can be learned very quickly. I have a class that has been working with me 2 hours a week for about 3.5, almost 4 years. And all of them were ajam when they came in, and now they're reading the Quran with a considerable amount of understanding. They can understand it with a dictionary, relying on a dictionary for some words. And this shows you just that a small amount of time, a massive amount can be gained. Now, Arabs already have a considerable jump on everybody else, because there's a great deal of the Quranic Arabic that they still can understand, even for a person on the street. My friend Abdullah Omar in Jeddah told me he was in Egypt once, and he speaks Fusha Arabic, and he got in a taxi and he said, "Uridu an adhaba ila suqi min fadrika hatta ashtariya ba'd al-aghraq." And the man said, "Sada Allah al-Azim." So now, Egyptian taxi drivers are notorious for being like what they call khafif ad-dam. So I don't know if he was just not understanding it was Quran, or he was making fun of my friend. But we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. لا يسخر قوم من قوم عسى أن يكونوا خيرا منهم. Let not one people mock another people, perhaps they're better than them. So the most beautiful tafsir that we have is the Jalalain for a quick understanding of the Qur'an. It's a remarkable work and I also recommend a Tasheel li Ulum al-Tanzil by Ibn Juzay al-Kalbi, which is also concise and just brilliant in what it contains. And then you move on to the bigger tafsirs. But we should identify resources. And the other thing I wanted to talk about this, but again, I'm just not, I need to be more structured. But I wanted to talk about our children and giving our children the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Prophet ﷺ said on the Yawm al-Qiyamah that the parents who give the Qur'an to their children will be given crowns that radiate like suns. Yutawwiju tijan talma'u kashams. I mean, subhanallah. I don't understand how we can give our children chemistry and biology and physics, and I mean, it's just that they're not going to be tested about that stuff on Yawm al-Qiyamah, which is not to diminish the importance of those sciences. I'm not, but we need to get our priorities right, and our priority above and beyond everything should be the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And wallahi, and I'm saying this and making an oath by Allah, our ulama, who were the most brilliant scientists and scholars that the world has ever known, I mean, way beyond the people now who don't even know how to take care of themselves. I mean, scientists are uninspiring individuals by and large. And it's not all of them, but a lot of them. They look at these Western scientists. They don't even know how to send it to me on email. They don't even want to talk to people anymore. Send it to me on email. But these ulama, all of them, what they share in common is that they memorize the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they learn the language of the Arabs. And I believe personally that ayah in the Qur'an is absolutely literal in its meaning, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ, in order that you use your intellects, that you learn to use your intellects. When Allah tells us the reason why we're all scattered and separated, He says, ذَلِكَ لِأَنَّهُمْ قَوْمٌ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ, because there are people that don't use their intellects. تَحْسِبُهُمْ جَمْعًا وَقُلُوبُهُمْ شَتَّى ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّهُمْ قَوْمٌ لَا يَعْقِلُونَ. You think that they're united, their hearts are separate because they don't use their intellects. We need to begin using our intellects, raise up to the level of this deen. And Arabic is a means, it's a tool. That's all it is. It's a tool, but it's a powerful tool that empowers the intellect to certain types of understandings that are not available to people through other linguistic mediums. Jazakumullah khairan. Wassalamu alaikum.